Mission 1, The Survivors. Our numbers, our faith, and our courage combined were not enough to avoid disaster. The cleansings of the underground tunnels had turned into a bloodbath sooner than we had expected. Great numbers of troglodytes, roaming the tunnels in packs, backed up by demons, have scattered the mortals sent below before feasting on the isolated ones. Panic has ruined the hopes of the expedition. Only a handful have managed to survive, guided by the Redeemer. As they wander, lost in the labyrinth, they must try to find their way out, even if this means helping themselves to the loot from the bodies of their slaughtered companions. But the enemies grow ever nearer, and although they have already feasted on human flesh, they are still hungry. Welcome back to the Claustrophobia playthrough. We're going to be beginning here in a minute, and the first thing that comes up is the initiative phase for the human players. So we'll go over to the human player board and roll the dice for initiative and see what we're going to do. Okay, so here we are with the player boards. So the first thing we do is we roll 4 dice, 1 for each player character, and we will see what we get for numbers. So I got 2 6s, a 5, and a 1. Now what we need to do with those is we need to assign them to the characters. So just give me 1 minute to think about it, and then we'll assign the dice to each character. Alright, so I've assigned the dice. I have assigned our Redeemer, the number 5. That allows him to do this spell at the beginning of his activation. So when he is about to either move or attack, we will be able to look at the top 3 tiles of the next 3 tiles that come up. He will be able then to choose which one goes on top, the other 2 go underneath it, and then the human players will get to orient the tile. So that's his choice. And I gave the blonde-haired Condemned Blade for Hire a 1, which gives him a movement of 1, a combat of 3 dice, a defense of 3. And the 2 6s I split between the Blade for Hire with the Blunderbuss. So he also gets a 1 movement, 1 combat, and 5 defense. And our Condemned Brute gets a 1 movement, 1 combat, 6 defense. So very hard to hit with a 6. Now, a couple of things I forgot to mention. One is the Blades for Hire have something called elusive, and it means they can leave spaces with troglodytes and demons in them, and they do not need to follow the rules for leaving spaces. Basically, the rule states that if you have an equal number or more than human players versus the demon player, you can leave the space. That goes the same with the demons. So if there's 2 and 2, you can leave. But if there's 1 human player and 2 troglodytes on a space, then the human player cannot leave unless they have the elusive ability, which the Blades for Hire have. Also, the Condemned Brute has something called impressive, and that means you cannot leave a space with him in it, no matter what the numbers are. And he also has something called bodyguard, which means if he is on a space with another hero and the other hero gets hit for damage, he can take the damage instead. Alright, so with those statistics all set up, let's go back to the playing surface and we'll start into the humans activation phase. Okay, so I've readjusted the camera a little bit here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have the Redeemer move first. And the reason I'm going to do that is because he is going to use, at the beginning of his activation, the Redeemer can choose to trigger this gift. So he has a 5. He has Aura of Precognition. So basically, I've already looked at the top 3 tiles in the stack, and he has chosen which one to place, and he gets to orient it. The human player gets to orient it. So we will just go and take a look at his choice. And his choice is this tile. And this tile has a little treasure box symbol on it, which is very nice. It has to orient this way, and of course his 1 movement as he moves into this area. So it's a dead end. However, he chose it because it has a treasure box, which means they get to pick up one of these advantage cards, and they get oil for your lamp. Play this card during the initiative phase, so we could play it next turn. The demon player will not be able to roll more than 2 dice of destiny for the next threat phase, so that's pretty good. And any bonuses granted to the Calm Before the Storm, Ward of Destiny, or by the demonic mechanism are therefore cancelled. That's an excellent card to have. Can really limit the demon player's ability to do things. And of course we also have the grenade. So that's the Redeemer's move. He's found a little cul-de-sac here with a with an oil for the lamp in it. The next thing, everyone only has one movement. And now that this has been exposed, there's no exits here, so the dice has to go to 2, and the demon player decides which exit he's going to put it on. So I'm going to put it on a 2 there. I'll move that up a little bit. And now we are going to have, I think I will have the brute move. So he's going to take his 1 movement and he will move here. And the next tile that comes up is a 4-way passage tile. Now the demon gets to orient it, and of course this doesn't matter because there's exits on every side. So basically that tile gets placed, the brute goes in here, there's no special icons on the tile, nothing too much happens, and of course there's no one to fight, so there's no combat activity happening. So 3, and the demon player places the dice here, of course conveniently. Trying to make some space here. All right, so the other 2, the Blades for Hire, each have 1 movement, and I think one of them, the blonde guy with the blunderbuss, is going to move in here with the brute, and I'm going to leave this one here. And the reason I'm going to do it, leave him here, is because the way the demons spawn on the board is they must come in at an entry point. So there's an entry point here, there's an entry point here, 1 here, 1 here. But they can only spawn onto the board if there are no human players on the tile. So this kind of blocks a demon a little bit from spawning. Now that's the end of the human's activation phase. Of course there was no combat because there are no troglodytes or demons on the board. Now it's the demon's turn, so we'll head over to his board and see what he's going to do. So here we are at the demon board, and they get to roll 3 dice, and then they will apply them to the specific areas. So we'll see what they get. They get 2 4s and a 6. That's pretty good. And they have 4 threat tokens. So basically this is called the threat phase. And this is where we're going to assign the dice. So again, we have 2 4s to assign and a 6. So let me do a little thinking. I'll come back and assign the dice to the spots on the board that we want to place them in. Okay, so I have 4 threat tokens. However, I don't have a 7 and I don't have an 11. So I can't bring any of the troglodytes or the demon onto the board this turn. The humans are blocking the tiles. So I'm going to take one of the 4s and I'm going to add it here, which I get to roll an extra dice, Die of Destiny, on the next turn. I'm going to take the 4 and put it here, which gives me 2 more threat tokens. Now I have a total of 6. And I'm going to take the 6 dice and I'm going to put it here in the Dark Destiny, which means draw one of the demon cards, and the demon card is a critical hit. And this says play the card when applying the result of a hit. You can choose the line of action that will be cancelled, or play during the threat phase. A warrior of your choice loses his bodyguard talent. Okay, so that's a card that we will save for another turn. Now, it's basically the demon activation turn, but because I was not able to bring any demons onto the board, there will basically be no demon activation turn. It was a little bit of a short turn, but I think I'm going to leave it there. It's basically turn 1, so the humans have done a little bit of exploring. They've got themselves an advantage card of the oil of, I forget what it's called, but it allows them to deny extra dice. So this may be the time for the humans next turn to play that. And they are at number 3 on the Breath of Fresh Air dice. Of course, when they get to number 10, they will find the exit space. And of course, the whole point of the mission is for at least 2 of them to escape with their lives. And the demons, actually the demons to win need to kill all of the human players. And the humans to win the scenario need to have at least 2 escape the dungeon. If 1 escapes, then it's considered a draw. So there you have it. That was turn 1. Join me next time for turn 2 of Claustrophobia. Again, thanks for subscribing, thanks for liking my videos, and thanks for watching. Join me next time for turn 2.